nonprofit organization. We are a 501c3. You can follow us on our Instagram page, Philly Youth _, and follow us on Facebook at Philadelphia Youth Today. We're doing a lot of things in the community and would love for a lot of people to be a part.
Doing a lot. I mean, a hell of a lot, especially even during this pandemic. I was like, yo, they over there working at Philly Youth.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, before we even get into all that, tell us a little bit about who Monique is. Like, who is Monique and why did you actually get started with the organization?
Sure. All my life, I've just been really passionate about helping youth, especially in my community. So the idea kind of originally arose when I was taking a course in college. The course was family and children relationships. I was a psychology major. And during this course, we had to create a project that focused on decreasing the negative stereotypes of blended families.
Awesome.
And although that was all good and dandy, throughout my whole time doing the project, I kept reverting back to where I grew up and
Awesome.
how many youth in that community are actually doing positive things but aren't being recognized. You watch the news a lot, and sometimes it can get really depressing or overwhelming. They don't really acknowledge the highlights of the youth or the community overall. So I started off on Instagram, pretty much just sharing stories about youth who are making a difference throughout the community. I would reach out to them, ask if they wanted their story to be heard, and of course, a lot of them said yes. We started receiving a lot of feedback and emails from a whole bunch of other people who wanted to share their story as well, and we felt like that was inspiring a lot of people. So we just wanted to really decrease those negative stereotypes of the youth in Philadelphia by starting off that way.
And I definitely understand what you mean by it's changing those stereotypes and changing the narratives, because right now when you think of the city of Philadelphia, you think of, murder capital, you think of a lot of poverty, you think of a lot of people not being misplaced, as far as just the city. So the fact that you're doing it for the youth, why did you find it more important to actually dabble into the youth community and not just overall the people in the city?
Because I feel like it starts at home. I can't just go out. I have to figure out what the actual problem is. Of course, eventually, I would love to expand to other cities as well. But this is where I grew up. Philadelphia is the city that I know. So, of course, I want to start.
What part? You got to go ahead and rep your hood. What part? Go ahead.
Southwest Philly.
That's big. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yep. So I just kind of wanted to start here, and hopefully we can originally expand to other parts as well.
That's big. So what is one of the biggest issues that you find amongst our youth here in the city of Philadelphia?
A lot of them haven't been outside of Philadelphia. I think that's an issue. I'm very big on traveling. So that's one of the programs that we focus on is traveling and getting youth out of the city to other parts of the world to broaden their horizons and their cultural awareness as well. Yeah. So we had our first trip in July 2018 to Belize, where we took a couple youth to Belize on a 7-day educational tour. So we tend to make the tours educational. We don't want them to just go on a trip and just sit on a resort all day. We feel like that's not doing anything, right? So we decided to make them educational. So our next trip is actually in July 2021. We're willing with this whole pandemic, but I'm sure by 2021 it'll be over with. So we still have hope. We're still working towards that. But in July 2021, we'll be taking youth from Philadelphia to Costa Rica on a 9-day educational tour. So that's a way for them to earn like high school or college credit as well. So I feel like that's a lot of the issues, like not being able to travel and seeing other parts of the world, because it helps you learn, it builds your knowledge.
I definitely agree with you on that. One thing for sure, I know for a fact, I love Belize. Belize was a country that really just gravitated towards me and what I was doing while I was there. So shout out to Belize. I definitely agree with that. And what would you say? Did they learn anything? Did you say they took anything from the culture over there?
I would definitely say, so Belize is a third world country. A lot of the children, they don't have a lot of the things that we have, a lot of the things that we take for granted. And sometimes a lot of people in Philadelphia can unfortunately be very materialistic. So just going on there and seeing some of the youth actually realize, wow, these kids don't even have shoes and they're walking around on this hot ground, but for some reason they're still happy, they're still smiling.
They making it work.
Yeah, they make it work, right? Barely had water to drink, you
Yes.
know. So a lot of the kids actually wanted to find ways to give back to the kids in Belize. So I felt like they learned a lot, not to take certain things for granted and not be so materialistic as well. You know, you can find happiness in other areas, not just by materialistic things.
That's real. And one, I would say at one point in Belize, I had the opportunity of crossing the border to Guatemala. So it even gets even worse as you travel through
Yeah.
Central America as far as being a third world country. So I definitely understand what you mean by that. And I want to get back to Philly, right? So when it comes down to Philly, the school district, the mayor just decided to close the entire school district for the remaining of the academic year. So at this point, these students in the city are learning virtually. They're learning by these tablets, the computers, their phones even. So talk to me a little bit about that. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think that was a good call on the school district to close, the schools for the remaining of the academic year, or do you think they should have figured it out some way?
Um, I think for the safety and well-being of others, that was a smart thing to do by closing down the schools. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of kids just kind of gave up now because they're not at school. They don't have the teachers on their back. Right. And a lot of the parents, they're still working. It's hard for them to manage both things. So I feel like the school district could have created a better way to help our kids, you know, learn better because
Definitely.
doing homework from home, you know, it's hard. It's really hard, especially in the midst of a pandemic. Like you're worried about a lot of other things, your family members as well. So it's kind of difficult to focus. But I do appreciate the teachers who are getting on those Zoom calls and still encouraging those kids to keep going and learning. So I think we need better teachers to help motivate our kids. If we had that, then maybe it wouldn't be so difficult doing the virtual homework.
I would definitely say this pandemic exposed a lot, not just the school district here in the city of Philadelphia, but it exposed a lot of public school districts across the country because a lot of school districts didn't even have the necessities that they needed to even provide the virtual home, learning styles such as the tablets and the pads. And they automatically assumed that these students and these families had Wi-Fi or had internet. That's not a necessity. That's a luxury. You know what I mean? So you sending these students home and saying, here's this iPad and you must clock in every morning at 8 o'clock. Not everyone has that even environment to do so. So most of these kids have to get up and take care of 2 to 3 kids themselves before they can sit down and actually do some homework. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel like doing it at home and changing that environment instantly took a toll on a lot of their mentals when it comes down to being motivated or even wanting to be educated and that kind of virtual thing. And then you got to also think about it, right? Prior to this pandemic, we were pushing kids to get off of the tablets. We were pushing kids to get back into the books, using a pencil, using a pen. We wanted to remove them from this whole technology phase that they were going through because we seen that it was a huge distraction for our youth. And then now, within an instant, we're like, no, get on the tablet, find something virtually to do, find a way to create money, find a way to make money off of your phone, off of this, off of that. So it's like super confusing as far as what we are teaching or asking out of our youth as far as the knowledge. But I want to read this comment that we have. Shout out to Salat's Corner. He said, lots of families are struggling with this now as far as, I agree, as far as, the
Yeah.
academic situation. What's your thoughts on what I just said, though?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I'm not really sure how true this is, but one of the things that really disturbed me that the Philadelphia School District was doing was telling the kids to go to the parking lot that had Wi-Fi so they could do their assignments. And I'm just like that's not helping.
At
That was
all.
just absurd to me. I feel like at least provide internet to the children in their homes. So those who don't have it, there's a way you can do that. So to tell the kids to sit in
For
the parking
free.
lot, yeah, for free, to sit in the parking lot and do their schoolwork, that was just crazy. But I did find an organization in Philly. I want to just shout them out really quick. I believe their name is Nomo nonprofit. They started providing Wi-Fi to the kids who did need Wi-Fi throughout the community that didn't have it. So I appreciate them. I commend them for that.
Definitely, I appreciate all the resources, because that's one thing that a lot of people are looking for is resources and solutions. We know the problem, we know that things are not necessarily going to go back to normal, or whatever the new normal society is pushing on us. We know that that's not going to happen, and it's not going to happen overnight. So I appreciate people actually rolling out resources. Shout out to Salah Corner. He actually tapped back in and said that, yeah, that's an actual statement from the school board. So
Wow.
to know that the school board even had to make a statement like that even proves more that they were exposed. They didn't have it together, nor were they ready. And I do understand that this is something that came out of nowhere. Nobody truly planned for a pandemic, right? But at the same time, you should have had some kind of emergency plan and ready in the tuck somewhere, so we know that you're taking care of our kids in an overall aspect. So yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
wanted to touch on that. And I want to just ask you, as far as what they should be doing with their time, because at first they had a schedule where they were getting up, from 7 a.m. to about 4:30. They were in school or after school care programs, or even at rec centers. Now they don't have that. They don't have the after school activities. They don't have the rec centers. Most of the courts here in West Philly, where I'm at, they even took down the rim because they didn't want them playing in the courts. So it's like, what else should they be doing with their time? Do you have any recommendations for that?
I feel like the main thing that a lot of kids should be doing, which I feel like a lot of them won't, hopefully they will, but just utilize your time wisely. Read. I'm a big advocate when it comes to reading. Find out what your niche is, find out what genres you like, and just really try to stimulate your brain by reading. Start exercising, going outside, running around. It's okay to still go outside. I think some people are just so frightened, like, no, 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 I can't go outside. But for your mental health and your well-being, it's okay to go outside. And just, find out things that you like, find out a new craft. What is it that you like to do? And go from there.
Monique, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm kind of scared when they go outside. They don't know how to chill. Kids like to touch
Well,
each other.
yeah,
They like to jump and play on each other. Like, you can't be coming back in my house doing all that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying, like, what are we supposed to tell them to do? Because they're on the tablet all day doing their schoolwork, right? And then
Yes.
when it's time to go outside, you're like, wear your mask, wear your gloves, make sure you don't touch nobody. You got your hand sanitizer. Like, put your telling a 14-year-old boy to bring his hand sanitizer outside, So
Yeah.
it's just, I
Yeah,
think
it's really
it's
hard.
hard. Exactly. It's going to
It
be
is.
really hard on our youth, and how we as adults and how we as organizations and, community leaders, how we roll this out for them is going to be truly important, especially for their next step. Extremely important for their next step.
Yeah.
So I wanted to dive a little bit more into what you guys do. I see that you guys had some campaigns going with giveaways from ShopRite as well as Giant. So talk to me a little bit about those sponsorships and giveaways that you were doing.
Sure. So we realized that now the kids are going to be home all day. They're going to eat a lot all day, right? So we wanted to help out families financially by being able to provide them with gift cards to grocery stores so they could, just provide more food in their household. We received a lot of requests from a lot of families who lost their jobs and was still waiting on unemployment. And we were able to gift a few families with like $100 gift cards to Giants and ShopRite Supermarket. We have another giveaway coming up soon. I'll be giving away $100 gift card to ShopRite. So, just stay tuned for that. We'll provide more details on our Instagram page as well as our mobile app, Philly You, so you can download that on your iPhone or Android and turn your notifications on and find out more about the giveaway that's coming up soon. So that's one of the campaigns that we're working on.
That's big. So were you able to do that based on donations and people actually coming through to support the organization? Or did you, as a CEO, pull that out your pocket and was like, I just want to do something for the community?
Yeah, so both. I went up to Giants, I went up to these supermarkets, and I said, look, listen, we have families out here who are in need. Please give us some money. And I wrote up a letter, gave it over, and they gave it right to me right on the spot. I also had people in the community donate money, and that's another way we were able to give out gift cards as well.
That's big. That's big. And before I get into that, I wanted to just read this comment we just got. It said, "We left so much into the school systems to teach our children and shape who they are, who shape and